there's a lot of people here that are in that tradition. And so basically it's Impressionism. And a bunch of his students have a thing up on Facebook of him. So that's the best place to see his work. You'll see much more than you see like if you Google him. So here's Henry. And he would do these still lifes outdoors. That's what he did in the summer for demonstrations for his classes. And so you can see him starting on it, and you can see what he painted and then his painting. So he's a real colorist. He's like really in the French Impressionist tradition. And he is an oil painter, but you can see his strokes are pretty reminiscent of pastels. He was an oil painter. And he mostly painted in his backyard. He lived in Providence, P-Town, Providence. I'm in Providence. Provincetown, yes.
You got me.
Okay, he lived in Provincetown. He hardly ever just left his backyard. He just painted that tree over and over in different lights. And I'm sure what he would have said is it doesn't matter what you paint, it's the light on it is what you're really painting anyway. So whatever catches the light is the thing. And like here's some more of his backyard. And just a couple of other ones. Just thought they were so pretty. And that's me in the background there.
Holy cow.
I know, right? I should have worn braids tonight. Actually, I meant to.
Yeah, and David.
Yeah, and David, right? So,
Wow.
I know. Pretty amazing. Somebody else posted that picture. I'd never seen it before. So, okay. So now I'm going to start my demonstration. So now you can see what's what.
Do people pin you?
I don't know now, because didn't people try that last time and it didn't work for some people or something?
It's working now.
I pinned you.
Well, I guess you should pin me, and then I don't care if you mute yourself, but as long as the TV's not going in the background or something. But okay, so now do you see my paper and the photograph?
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm hoping, what?
With a pin.
With
We
a
can
pen?
see it. Time.
Oh, that's a
Pinning
bad view. I'm not going to get that chin in there. Oh. Okay. Yeah, so you're gonna have to tell me if you can't see or if there's a problem, because actually after last week's debacle, I figured out a better way to set up the whole thing. So I'm feeling pretty good about it. So yeah, so just let me know if anything goes wrong. All right, you can still see my paper, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, good. All right, so I sent that little video about how to accomplish this whole grid thing. And hopefully that was helpful. Okay, so from that, what I'm doing is I'm just looking like, okay, so it's really different when you have a grid. You don't have to. I don't start that same way where everything's sort of wild and trying to figure it all out where it, because it's already figured out for me where it goes. I already know. So especially those ones I do of the beach scenes where there's so many people and stuff, and I use the 1-inch grid. I try to start in a place where I can see the shape compared to the corner, or see an empty space compared to the corner. Yes, that's how I do that. But with this, it's like I say, already the composing is already kind of done.
Janine, on the video that you sent, I didn't check this out myself, but on Snapseed, can you choose different size grids?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, no, you
No.
can't.
That's what
Can
I
you
thought.
do
It's all divided by thirds.
Can you do any grid in Snapseed?
Yeah, the minute you turn on crop, it'll make a
Oh,
grid on-
right. I forgot that.
Yeah, and it's kind of nice because you don't have to. It's really interesting. See, it's how much I want to make the mountains too big. And I think that's like a thing because we know they're so big. we want to make them big. Yeah, it's amazing how quickly you forget those, like everything about something. Like I haven't used Snapseed much lately because I mainly just use my computer with Photoshop, because Photoshop is, is more versatile.
I really like the healing tool in Snapseed.
Like the little Band-Aid one, or
Yeah, the Band-Aid for getting rid of things you don't want.
Wow.
yeah, I use, I clone stuff a lot. And look at that. This is so bad. Thank God I have some lines here to help me see where I've messed up. And I think maybe, this might be really helpful with this whole mountain situation because I think my experience from teaching outside is the mountains are getting the mountains the right size in relationship to the foreground is kind of hard. And one time I was painting this pretty big picture for me, big pastel, and I was out there doing it in front of this guy's. This was a crazy story, man. Fiona and I were out painting, and this guy, he stopped and he said, "Oh, could you come paint my backyard?" And I'm like, yeah, sure, of course. And off I went with him. I mean, I was in my own car, but off I went. And I painted his backyard, and he bought it right off the easel, just like that. And also I told him where he could buy those LL Bean gum boots. He didn't, anyway, it was insane. The guy was so rich. And then we had to go straight down to that one of those galleries in Stowe and get it framed. It's like this all happened in the space of an afternoon. All right, I just can't spend any more time on this drawing. But you can see I'm having trouble. I hope you're appreciating how much trouble I'm having getting it right. And I just think everything I draw takes a long time to really get it to where I'm satisfied with it. So if you feel like you're drawing a long time, you're not alone. All right, so I just want to get this. I don't know, I had an idea that maybe I'm just kind of placing my trees, but I might very well just start that whole line of things with one color. I just kind of want to see where things are going to be. Oh yeah, and I was also thinking I would just start the sky all with one color. Look at that. See how I moved it up too far? But okay. It's a tiny mountain. It's not the Rockies.
It feels like it's compressed horizontally too.
Well, that's probably because I made it too tall.
No, I mean, I'm drawing it here too, and it feels like the picture itself is wider, or the
Yeah, it
mountain
does look that way.
longer than it is on the paper.
There might just be some distortion. I was really careful this time. Like I said in that little video, that I cropped the photograph to 11 by 15 so that that I could really take the ½ inch off and not have it be a problem. The last one I did, I kind of got in trouble because I'd done it to 12 by 16. And then when I took the ½ inch away, then it really wasn't the right size. So which one didn't I send? Are you looking at the one I sent you, or are you looking at the little one on the screen?
Well, no, the one that you sent.
I don't know. I often wonder this myself, if there's some distortion from the.
One of my favorite colors.
There you go. This one's for you, Judy. Okay, I had this idea. Today that I was just going to start the sky all the same, and I wasn't going to draw it yet or anything. I was just going to start it the same. So we'll see how that goes. Yep. And I'm going to try to be a little even more wild than my usual wild self. So I'm going to start nothing with the color, the actual color. kind of like Henry. So the first time I ever saw Henry paint, I think I was 14, because he was friends with my teacher and he would come out to Oklahoma in the winter and do demonstrations. So my art teacher that I had while I was in middle school, and I guess ninth grade too, maybe, she took me to see him do his demonstration.
Mhm.
Yep, it was something. Oh,
It's amazing what
promise.
the stories that you hear about when a teacher does something like that for a young person and how it becomes their life.
Oh, yeah, well, it is, isn't it? I mean, and I always would, people would say how much they disliked working with middle school students, and everything I still do that I love, I started doing in middle school.
Hmm.
Causing trouble. I think I got confused. So this is here. And it's in here, but it's, my easel keeps sliding.
Is that the middle ridge or the lowest
Well,
ridge?
it's really hard to say at this moment what it is. So I think I'm gonna have to come back and there's another one here that I kind of left out. Yeah, and I guess you could say, yeah, those really are in fact blue, but I was kind of running out of options here. Um, see, what are you?
So
And the,
Janine,
what?
well, Janine, how are you seeing pink in the sky?
I just made it up.
Okay.
I don't know. How does one see anything? I mean, like Hensche used to always say he was just painting what was there and that the rest of you just couldn't see it. So
Don't paint what you see, paint what you feel.
now he would always say, paint what you see. That was his thing. And so eventually I did go study with him at the Cape for a month one summer. And there were all these people there that went back, you know, summer after summer after summer to study with him. And but basically I really learned what I needed to know. I learned it on the first day. It was like, paint what you see. And once that was just, I mean, I'd heard that so many times, but that was so brought home to me then by him on that first day, how I was not painting what I was seeing, that I mean, I never could have figured out how to go back. Most of the people that went there didn't come from Oklahoma.
But you often start with a vibrant color in the sky. So it's a good question. That's not what you're seeing. It's just something that you have learned works with the sky.
Well, I would hate to say I don't know if I've ever started a sky with that exactly. And I would hate to say I had learned it because, oh, the chin. Oh my God. Okay. I'd hate to say I'd like learned it, because the minute you think you've learned something, then you quit learning stuff. So I was trying to be a little more wild tonight than my usual wild self.
Okay.
But usually what I'd say is, like, if I look at something and I think it has a little orange, then I'll make it really orange, or a little yellow, I'll make it really yellow. But one thing I do have to kind of keep in mind is that I need to start a little on the dark side so I can work lighter.
Yeah.
So I have many times started grass yellow and lived to regret it, because then it's sort of like you can't do a thing with it. So now I am going to come back and see what I can do to make things a little more realistic. Now, I'm afraid what I usually say is don't put anything in the sky that's not blue, because you won't be able to get rid of it. Yeah, I know, right?
So do as you do, not as you say.
Yeah, do as I do. And, you know, you shouldn't, every teacher I ever had accused their students of taking them too literally. And so I guess I would just say that too. Don't take any of it too literally. I've been thinking a lot about my teachers today, I guess, because knew I was going to kind of do Henry's work. And I've just been thinking also about people that I know that I'm not in touch with very many people from art school, but some, their work has changed. So like, I feel like I've done a lot of, like I have still this thing that I'm an impressionist, but you know, I change subject matter. I do a lot of different stuff, I think. But some of my old friends, they just paint the same things they always painted. You know, grapes hanging over the edge of a shelf. Of course, they're all making a lot of money, so. Somebody sent me a picture, like I told this old friend of mine I would give him a painting if he wanted, like one of my landscapes, my pastels. And he sent me a picture of a painting of mine he already has, which is grapes hanging over a shelf edge, because everybody that was in David LaFell's class painted grapes hanging over a shelf edge. But some of those people are still painting grapes hanging over a shelf edge. And I just would like to say I've not painted red grapes in a very long time. All right, so it just looks like chaos. I'm feeling kind of anxious. That's good. That means you're like, you know, pushing the envelope. Anxious is a good feeling. And besides, you know, I can always spray it and then do it again. And, you know, I don't know how, like, I just get bored. That's kind of my problem, is when I get kind of good at something, then I'm kind of tired of it. Or maybe, I don't know, I mean, maybe it's something else, but I just know that, you know, like, whatever it is, there's a time where I don't want to do anymore, like tractors.
Is that sandpaper paper?
It is the Pastel Premier. I don't know who asked me that, but
Me, Ann.
oh, Anne, yeah. Yeah, it's Pastel Premier. It's that thing I always was using. Do you use that now too, or?
No, I'm not that advanced yet.
I think you are.
Oh,
I
so,
highly
but,
recommend it, Anne, and you can, if you buy it on sale, the price isn't that bad.
oh, that's okay. I didn't know if you could spray the sandpaper paper.
Yeah, you can.
Well, there you are.
You know, I wouldn't spray it more than about 5 times, I don't think.
Oh, geez. Okay.
5 is, I mean, I did it once just to see how many times I could spray it, and I runned it at 5, runned it. So.
Wow.
All right, so, you know, I'm working too long in that one area, even because I need to, like, actually that is kind of darker in it than the mountains, but anyway, I need to keep going here because I need to see what's going to happen next. So you have to be careful not to work too long in one area like I just did. And when you realize that you're working too long in one area, you just need to move somewhere else. Okay, so then, you know, I started way out there, and that's okay. I think it almost doesn't matter what you start with, because then from there, you're gonna follow a path that's been kind of prescribed by what you started with. So there's that. You're gonna be on a path that is, that path is started by, I hate Camels Hump. You hate it as much as I do. But anyway, I'm not drawing right now. I'll come back and draw later. So you started on a path. You've put yourself on a path by the colors you pick initially. And then that path just leads you different ways. But if you always did it just the same way, so like here, well, like here, like I can't figure out that color exactly right now. So I thought maybe if I made the sky even lighter, because I think this needs to be lighter, but it's darker than the sky. So, well, anyway, if you always started on the same path, in my opinion, it just would be so boring. And you would not learn another thing. That would be it. Learning would end because the only way you learn stuff is by taking chances. So like this, like when everything went to hell last week and nothing would work, I changed my whole setup, and that's what I'm using tonight. And for me anyway, it is so much better. My pastels are in
Yay.
front of me. I'm not having to, it's not so hard to reach all the way across. And as long as I can just keep this hideous chin out of the painting, it's fine. Okay. So maybe what I have to do kind of is come down and just see what else I can do down here, because I can't figure out these relationships yet. And so the thing about painting what you see and not what you know is that the relationships, you're painting the relationships between things. So is that true? I have to think about that another minute. Like, you're probably always painting relationships, right? But yep, I think you're always painting relationships. So just never mind.
Jane, what was that color you just used on the tree line?
It was a really dark bluish green. I think that's it doesn't have the paper on it. I don't think I have the paper on anymore, but I think it's like 640, maybe the 640 series.
Oh yeah, like I know what a number is, but I think that's the color of my dreams. I love it.
The color of your
I
what?
want it for my dreams. I want it for my winter grass leaves that are sticking out, but I don't think I have it.
Yeah, you might not unless you had a bigger set. But see that the numbers, that's the way you go buy it. You would buy like 630, which I think it is. I'm not positive. You'd buy 630.3 would be this darkest one. Yeah, so
I don't do
color-
math very well.
What?
I don't do math very well.
Well, you don't have to. I can send you an email. Well, it's that thing of making a color chart of your pastels. That's
Yep.
incredibly helpful.
Yeah.
Okay, so like this doesn't exist in isolation. It's only what it is compared to the things around it. Because even though I have quite a few pastels, and some people have way more than me, I have a finite number. And compared to the number of things, colors in the world, it's not very big. So, if it was fall, then these colors in the background and the sky is a different color in the fall, I think. That's what I've noticed anyway. And everything is different compared to what's next to it. So that's why you don't want to spend too long in one spot like I just was. Right, so this, okay, so that's back there, and then there's another one in here. And of course you realize that, the trees, I took this picture actually, but the trees are all green way back there in the distance. It's not that it's not that those mountains are blue. It's really green, and it's just as bright a green as it is up close to us. So that's one of the things too I could talk about, is just making distance, is that the warm colors seem to drop out as things get further back. And definitely the richness of the colors drop out. So the farther away stuff gets from you, the less the greens become more blue and less yellow. And the contrast weakens too. So here, I don't know, this is that first line behind the trees, but, oh, not there, but over here too. So I don't know, I'll have to do some more stuff here. So I didn't, this is ridiculous that I didn't notice that this photograph didn't have really strong light and shadow until like 10 minutes ago. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and there are trees that are lighter, so I'm going to put them in with a different color and then keep my dark trees for the trees that are not, this I think is springtime. Must be, right? Those are dandelions. Or early summer anyway. Um, And the greens, the thing about green is no matter how many pastels you have, you are not going to have enough greens. So you're really forced to see the other colors in your greens. So like, you know, and there's some obvious ones. Is it a bluish green? Is it a yellowish green? But you want to ask yourself even more questions beyond that. Like you want to ask, is it a reddish green? Is it a violet green? Yeah, so don't limit yourself. And you know, and another thing my teacher used to say all the time is that seeing follows believing. So of course he would say, you should just believe what I'm saying to you, because once you believe it, then you'll see it. But I do think it's true that you just have to put yourself out there, and it might be that you just think it's craziness to make your sky bright pink. But, you know, anyway,
It's
that's what I
craziness
said.
to make your what?
Sky bright pink or something.
Okay,
Are you having trouble hearing me in general, or just?
No,
it's just my ears.
No,
Okay, I can turn it up a little. Yeah, so instead of saying that seeing is believing, what he said was believing is seeing. So in the beginning, you won't see it, but then as you do it, then you start to see it. You start to see that colors aren't just what they taught you in grade school, that, you know, bananas are yellow and apples are red and trees look like lollipops. And so all the time if you're an impressionist painter, colors aren't just straight up colors. They're like ish colors, green-ish, purplish green, or whatever it is. They're not going to be just straight green. And it's such a great thing to be starting in painting, because the shorter time you've been painting, the more everything is all new and amazing. And the longer you paint, like to keep that kind of freshness and vitality to your work, like Judy has at her tender age, gets harder and harder to not just do what you've already done or what you know will work, or like, thank God I'm not selling any paintings. I'm not a slave to the marketplace.
that was funny.
It was, wasn't it? Nobody's telling me what to paint. Well, I did go see the show that my painting was in. And I didn't go to the opening. I chickened out with the thought of so many people in a room. And now that the indoor mask mandate is over, I just couldn't do it. But I did go see it. Jim and I went and saw it. And it's so hard to remember, but it's so true. Luckily, they had, look, I keep ending up back in the sky, evidently. That's what I'm having fun with. They had a piece of the jurors' work there. And I didn't realize that in the beginning. I just sort of was looking for my painting, I guess. But then when I heard someone else talking, saying, oh, this is the jurors' work. And then I was like, oh, now I totally know why the paintings she picked. I mean, now I understand why certain paintings got prizes and other paintings didn't, like most paintings. So then the idea is that then you don't have to feel bad because you know you didn't have a chance anyway, but still, I just want to say I was a little sad. And then I was really sad because it didn't look like, I was there 3 days after the opening and they hadn't sold anything.
So there's bias in the jurors.
What?
So the jurors are biased.
Oh, well, you know, of course they are. Oh, like maybe you wondered why I never judged the Pastel Society shows anymore in Vermont. because I picked everyone that won the year I judged was someone who studied with me. I couldn't help it. Their work all looked the best. So I didn't know the names, although I could tell. But no, this person liked fantasy. And the things that won, two of the things, the thing that got the number one was just, it was ridiculous. But the things that basically won were all fantasy things. So one thing I'm trying to do, like getting stuck up here in the sky again, is I'm trying to see if I can get it light enough or bright enough or something that I have more room for the values I need down below. Because I sort of feel like I'm a little squished down here with the choices I have left myself now. So if I can lighten the sky, it means I can lighten this first layer of mountains. And yeah, so that's kind of how I'm trying to share with you how I think about stuff, which is.
So Janine, would you talk a little bit more about values, like the values in that painting? The tree line is dark, the darkest. And then now what are you struggling with?
Well, nothing seems light enough, but I haven't really, I see if I can put some more lights in here right now.
And why do you want it to be lighter?
Well, because actually it does have the darkest darks, but it also has some of the lightest lights. I mean, really the lightest lights are, I guess, down here, this little part of grass that's still in the sun. So it's not just that the darkest darks are in the foreground, it's also that the lightest lights are in the foreground. And like I say, I kind of didn't realize this didn't have sun on it.
And so you're worried about the sky is
Too
what
dark.
exactly?
I was worried
It's
that
too
it was
dark?
too dark. Yeah.
So that, and as a consequence of being too dark, what happens?
It forces me to be even darker here.
Oh,
So
Okay.
anytime you're painting, especially if you're outdoors painting and you feel like your painting is too dark, then the thing to do is go lighten up the sky, because that allows you to lighten up everything else.
I'm
Generally
sure that
speaking,
makes sense, but I don't get it.
um,
I'll just live with it for a while.
no,
How's
no,
that?
well, I want you to get it.
Well,
Because you
it's
only,
because
so think of a piano, right? You have a piano, you have really high lights, light sounds, and really dark sounds, deep sounds, and
Okay.
then you have the middle. But that's all you've got. You've just got the piano, and that's how it is here too. This is all I've got, is this. So if I want a piece that's really up in a high key, then maybe my darkest darks would be somewhere in the middle, not the very bottom of the piano. Is this making any sense, or is this just as bad? But I
Well-
see it in my mind as a piano all the time. Maybe someone else can explain this better.
Well, do you always want this same proportion of different values in your painting, or is it because of what you were talking about earlier, something about the relationship between colors,
Yeah.
which I also don't get?
It's the relationship between the light of the sky versus the light that it falls on, the direct light in the sky versus the reflective light on the grass and on the trees. And they're related, and it's just a different, well, you were talking about values as well as color, but it was the relationships. Exactly. You hit the nail on the head that she was talking about in the beginning.
Like if you look at Janine's painting now, the very top of the sky is getting a little bit lighter. It was really dark with those purples and vivid colors. So now the whole painting is starting to look lighter. And so then all these mountains are more evident against it because there's more contrast.
That's true.
Another way of saying the same thing, sort of.
Yes, both those things were pretty helpful to me.
Yes, they were to me too, but I think I still don't get it, but I'm
Well,
chewing
let's
on.
just say, let's say I'm painting, what if I had a whole garden down here with orange flowers in it? Then I wouldn't really want to start my grass orange, because then where would I be left to go with my flowers if I wanted them to be orange? So,
Right.
but if I don't have orange flowers, then I can start the grass or anything else as orange as I want, because no orange flowers to compare it to.
Yep,
Or to,
yep.
yeah, I know. Well, you know, you probably get it someday.
Yeah, I'll keep trying. Oh, yeah.
Well, it's if you just paint what you see, but the thing is, the trick to that is, yeah, you're painting what you see, but you have to be sure that you're looking around and not fixated on one thing, because you have to see how that one thing compares to all your other things. It's like it doesn't live alone. Like that color is whatever, I can't really figure out what I'm trying to do here, but that color is only going to be that color because of all the colors around it.
Oh,
in
I
that
kind
way
of get
I-
that.
What?
I kind of get that.
Yeah, in the way that I have a finite number of things to work with. And I like to paint at the very highest key. Like I will always, I'm pretty sure I can say always, my paintings will go all the way up to white somewhere in the painting. I don't paint with black usually, but I do have that really, really dark blue that that when it's sprayed, it gets kind of black. So, okay, so let's see. So this color is too rich because it's not staying back enough from this color down here. So this blue is a little on the rich side. So
Oh, I get that.
yeah, okay. So this, I'm
Yep.
actually using a little gray on top of it, which is not, you know, either one of my things, but I wanted to be sure I really did something that you could see. And then just get this, and then I had, oh, I think that's that's a tree that's actually in the near, I mean, it's right up here, just right behind here, so I can. So yeah, no, I wouldn't leave anything. Nothing would be left the way it looks right this minute. As people know that send me multiple, you know, you guys can send me multiples. Some people send me a lot. And I can keep somebody very busy for a very long time if they keep sending me pictures of their paintings. And I put some in there tonight in the slideshow so people could see.
Janine,
Yes.
if you step back from the painting, I
Yeah.
step way back from the computer, it has a totally different look.
Is that good or bad?
No, good.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay,
it emphasizes what you're saying.
good. I was trying to. All righty. Well, I see I've gone sort of over my usual time, but yeah, and now it's pretty much like, see, this is the thing, I've got so much on there now that I need to spray it. But also, like, I might decide maybe I can have some of those darks back there in the sky that I eliminated. Now that I got some places lighter, I don't know. Okay,